Okay, so what we're going to do today, we're going to talk about this because it's up and running. We've also got the Rocket Gold Star. It's all ready to go now. It's cleaned up, actually looks quite nice now. You can see your face in it now. And behind Alex here, we've got a Commando come in. I think this one is a 72 Mark II. It's come in for basic work. It hasn't got any indicators on this one. It's been stripped back. Quite nice looking. It's got rather low gearing, so we need to remove the primary chain case, take the clutch off, we'll replace the gearbox sprocket and put a bigger tooth sprocket on there. Check the chain, if that's badly worn, replace it, but we need to extend it by a few links because obviously it's going to be a bigger sprocket on the front. Another thing on here, I mentioned before, you can get contamination in the clutch plates where the gearbox oil comes on the main shaft. So it's a little mod. We fitted one before here that goes on the end of the clutch nut on the main shaft behind the clutch itself. Well, once you've taken the diaphragm off, just behind there. We'll get those parts from Norville. So that's a very quick job. But we'll go back to this one now. We're going to start this one up and just show you. It shouldn't need any tickling on the carburetor. We just put the fuel on. So we had it running a little while ago. Because we've got the 4-spark system, it's 12 volts. We had to turn on ignition here. That energises power for the coil pack. Then the magneto's got a cutout on it, so make sure that's on. And we just kick it over. Oh, just kick me back. Because it's only just been put together and run up, it's all need running in. We might have to look at carburation because these carbs are a little bit worn. And I'll explain in a moment about it, but just let you have a look around and you can hear it. This is only the third time it's been run, so everything's got a bed in. So when you want to stop this, obviously you've got to cut the mag out first, then turn off the power to the coil. What is happening with this, it's got twin carbs on here. Now, the Atlas was the big boy that had the twin monoblocks. When it went to the Commando, they put concentric carbs on. Now, if you look at these two carbs, everything's so tight together. The throttle idle screws are actually touching because they run on a taper towards each other. And to get to the pilot air screws here, it's quite difficult. Now, what's happened here with this engine, or these carbs, I should say, is the bodies and the carburetors are a bit worn. And at the moment, the throttle slide is on the bottom. It's not adjusted up on the pilot air screw at all. It's sucking air past the slide. The cutaways are quite big, but we are sucking air in here. And when it gets warmer, it gets faster. And the pilot air screw is just fractionally out. It's running a bit lean. My suggestion would be, we'll put a single manifold on here. We'll put a new carburetor on with a pancake filter. Then you have one choke cable, one throttle cable. You don't lose much in performance, but because all the work that we've done to this, we don't want to mess it up. I think it'll make a much nicer bike. Another thing that you probably noticed, there was some staining around the cylinder head. Now these 4 covers here, you have rocker spindles through here, and they have a plate with like a pair of jaws that holds the spindle in a certain position so it can't turn around. I think what's happened in the past, they've been put back in, and these blanking plates on the end have been put back on. There's the inner plate and the outer one, and they were distorted. Now when they get distorted, they leak oil, and you'd see the stains it's got down here from the past. Oil will run down here, around the cylinder head, and you get this heavy staining of oil where it bakes on. So we had to flatten these off yesterday, because as soon as we fired it up, we had a weep of oil, and that's happened a lot in the past. So anyone's got a commander that leaks oil from these covers, take them off, put them on a flat block, and put a piece of steel on the top, and straighten those out, give them a tap. But it runs fairly well, but I think we're going to need to just talk to the customer about converting it to a single carburettor. So it's nice to have that running, and it's quite sweet. It will need a bit of steady running in because it's been rebored and the crank's been ground, so just careful mileage for 1,000 miles maybe. So what we're going to talk about now, we'll talk about the RGS. We've done a bit of work to this. It'd been standing for a while. It needed to be recommissioned and a bit of a tidy up. It is a genuine example. It's matching numbers. We have got documentation that will prove that. It's a genuine reason to sell. Belongs to someone now who's in his 80s, and it's not the bike he can afford. Sorry, it's not the bike he can manage to ride now because it's quite weighty. So we've been using some cleaning products on that, and on the bench we just use a few of these products that we were given to try. XCP. Now this one, the rust blocker, this is a heavy duty one. This is the one I've been using. It works really well because I want to give that a bit of a shine, and it's really done it really well. This one is quite good. It's more like a general purpose spray, maintenance spray, which is really good. So yeah, that's been a good product to try. The cases on here, how did I get those nice and shiny? Well, I did take the primary chain case off, and that has been put on the buff mop. We got a pedestal mop over there with a coarse and a finer finish polish, so it's given it a nice finish. And we've done the primary chain case cover, we've done the timing case cover. It just gives it a bit of detail, makes it look quite nice. Okay, so just a little bit of chat about the Gold Star, the BB model. It's all stripped out, got the engine stripped out, gearbox stripped out, just to really see what's going on. We haven't cleaned it up yet because it's got a coating of oil in here. Until we really go through things, it's just like this for you to have a look at. We have a bit of an issue with the crankshaft. We're just hoping someone can help us out with this. Until we can get this done, we can't go anywhere with it really. So yeah, it's a bit of a job, but when that's done, it'll be a nice bike. So yeah, cycle parts are quite good. We're going to put, I think we mentioned before, the correct petrol tank on there. We'll probably change the rear shocks, and we'll do the chain guard, and that would be a nice bike. And as you can see here, okay, we've got the Rocket Gold Star, but it should have this type of badge. This isn't the correct badge for it, and it'll be the right tank, and it'll set the bike off nicely. But no, that should hopefully be something we can get sorted fairly quickly. What else have we got coming up in the workshop? Well, hopefully the next time I see you, we'll start putting the A65 back together. I'll be honest with you, the crankshaft on it, I've decided to actually have it ground because I had new rods for it. So whoever buys that from me, it will have had the crank reground, new con rods, rebored, new pistons, and there's a lot of other stuff. So yeah, I'm going to do a few miles on the bike first, but it will be up for sale. So the engine will have been done completely, and you'll see that going back together. So it would be a good bike for somebody. And yeah, so I think in the future we've got some more bikes coming in. We've got at the moment a Commando on the bench, straightforward work. We've got another Commando coming in, and I think we've got a few more BSAs. And yeah. But we keep busy. But outside, we got a Suzuki SV650, which I was given to ride. I've been riding this for a few days. Lana's over here today. She's brought this back over, the Scram, so I'm going to be riding this. I'm going to give you my opinion of this bike. I've actually enjoyed it. It wasn't raining when I rode this bike, so I had 2 or 3 days of riding this to work. I would say this is a city bike because when we look at the bike itself, it doesn't have a hugger, but you can put one on, so it gets a bit mucky. And on the front of the bike, we don't have an extension for the mudguard. So if we look here, there is a tendency to chuck the muck all over the starter motor and all over the oil filter and exhaust system. There's a bit of flap here, and I'm not really sure what that does really. It doesn't do a great deal. But the bike itself, build quality is good. Power to weight ratio is brilliant. Honestly, seriously, for a 650, it's very agile. It's quite a short wheelbase. It reminds me a bit like riding a Buell. It's very responsive. I actually liked it. So I'm actually looking forward to riding the Scram. Heard a lot about these, and I think, well, you look at the size of that. I mean, you've got a 650 here, and this is a 350. I mean, it looks much bigger, doesn't it?
411, Dave.
Oh, it's 441. Oh, it's
411.
411. So this is the Himalayan engine, basically, isn't it?
Pretty much.
They're using here. I've not seen one, so I'm be very, intrigued to see what that's like to ride. To be honest with you, when it's like this is an ideal bike, isn't it? It's very usable, and I think you can put luggage on here, and we all know the reputation that the Himalayan had when it first came out. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see what this one's like.